Our next guest was once a bat boy for the FM Redhawks, and now he's releasing a song called Roger Maris. So I think you can see what inspires him. Matt Halvorson joins us today. Thank you so much for calling in here, because we know you're not in Fargo. You told me you're in Seattle.
Yep. Yeah, I'm in Seattle right now.
Okay, so the song today that you're releasing is part of a whole album, but I want to, and we're going to listen to it, but first I kind of want to get a little more background. You are a Fargo native. When were you last in Fargo?
Well, I last lived there in '99. It's when I graduated from high school, and my family moved that same summer. So I really haven't spent a lot of extended time in Fargo since then. But I drive through town every now and then. A lot of family living in Minneapolis or in that area, so we still make it into town every once in a while on a pass through. But it's been a while since I've spent a lot of good time in Fargo.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when we're emailing back and forth, you gave us that little nugget that you were a bat boy, or whatever you call it, for the Redhawks. Where did your musical journey start?
I'd always been sort of lightly involved in music, but in some ways I was so obsessed with baseball that I didn't put a lot of focus on much else for a long time as a kid. And so, like taking some piano lessons, I played the trombone all through middle school and high school. And it really was in my early mid-20s when I was looking for something new, a creative outlet, and had always been interested in writing music or trying something like that, and just picked up a guitar and started trying to learn. And it's one of those things that just, I guess, struck a chord, so to speak, and has really stuck with me and turned into sort of the new passion of my adult life, I guess. And so to be able to kind of combine these two things and to work some storytelling and some baseball and some music in together has been a real something I've been really looking forward to putting out there for a while now. I've been working on it for some years, and it feels good to be seeing it come to fruition.
Yeah, well, you have a built-in audience there because everyone's a baseball fan. And so before we hear the song that you've just released today on opening day for the season, let's talk about the album. How many songs, and how many years or how long did it take to put this album together?
Well, it's 9 songs. So the idea sort of came, I mean, I think it was over 10 years ago now that I was watching the Ken Burns baseball documentary with a good friend of mine. And they mentioned the name Moses Fleetwood Walker, and he was apparently a sort of forgotten player from the 1880s who was actually considered the first black player in the big leagues and the last one before Jackie Robinson. And my friend looked at me and he was like, "Hey, you should write a song called called Moses Fleetwood Walker. It's such a good name." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." And so I started sort of playing with that, and it took a while to figure out how to turn that into a song that would mean something as opposed to just using the name. But once I did it, it turned into this sort of, as soon as I had finished that one, I had more ideas. Like, what if I did one about Dave Dravecky, this lefty pitcher who had his left arm amputated in the 80s, or, some different things that came to mind. And so in a lot of ways, it turned into this sort of long project where it's more almost an exercise in empathy and like looking at these stories and these events in these ball players' lives, and in this, and like, how would I have handled this? How would I have lived through losing my identity in that way? Or in Roger Maris's case, chasing this home run record and having so many of his fans not want him to be the one to break the record, everybody wanting to be Mantle or one of these anointed kind of Yankee superstars, and instead it was him. And with all this scrutiny and all this pressure, how would I have handled this, and what have I gone through that's similar? And so I think, in a lot of ways, it's just an expression of how I've always seen the world, through baseball and with these stories that are about baseball in some ways, but they're really about life, I think.
Wow, that's incredible. You put a lot of research into every song. It seems like almost a history lesson.
No, I hope. I mean, I don't know. That's part of it, though, is that I don't know how true some of it is to some extent. A lot of it is like, taking in a story and then trying to turn it into something new. And so, but yeah, there's a lot of, I think everything that we see in America, I feel like in the US has been reflected in baseball through history in a lot of ways. And so as we see, we look back and we see now even, Cleveland's changing its name, and there are these things that are happening in the sport, even if baseball is kind of one of the, it's coming a little bit behind some of the other sports in terms of its racial awakening, I guess. But I think that, baseball has been this thing that has been really a way to tell the story of the U.S. over the last 150 years.
Well, I want to hear the whole album, but we want to hear Roger Maris. We're going to take a quick break, so people have to stay with us. We're going to have you sing that next. Stay with us here on North Dakota Today.